the state.
And this time the state will call Ms. Cara Richardson.
Richardson?
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
All right, please state your name and spell it for the record.
Cara Richardson, Cararichardsson.
All right, and how are you currently employed?
I'm the director at the Glen Brunswick 911 Center.
All right, what does the Glen Brunswick 911 Center do?
So we process all, we're responsible, we're the primary, well, actually the only PSAP, which is public safety answering point for Glen County. So all 911 calls go through us. And we do all, public safety dispatching as well.
Okay, so what's the difference between public safety dispatching and all the 911 calls that come in?
So the calls are processed by, well, there's a myriad of technology that makes the calls come to us, but essentially we have call takers and we have dispatchers. So we have call takers that process the calls that are inbound and dispatchers that will send the appropriate response out.
Okay, so that I'm clear, if I'm the 911 operator, I'm taking the call for somebody who's calling in for an emergency, right?
Right.
Am I also at that time sort of typing in stuff into the report, or am I dictating it to somebody else, or how's this work?
Right. So we don't do an actual report. We do a record of call, which is, it's a public record of an inbound call. And the police officers or fire department, the respective agencies will do a report based off of the audio, their observations, and the notes in these calls. So yes, that's what happens.
So say someone calls in, is someone typing this in?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the dispatcher person, are they the one who is now going, hey, EMS, you need to go here, or fire, you need to go there?
Sometimes, if we're busy. If we're busy, everybody can answer the radio, the phone and or the radio, but we try to keep the respective, particularly the police dispatchers, off the phones. But if we have an accident on 995 or something like that where we get inundated with calls, anybody can be answering that and directing responders at the same time.
Gotcha. And you oversee this entire process?
Yes.
All right. Are you also the custodian of record for these records generated from the 911 call center?
Yes.
And within the 911 call center, how many people generally work a shift, like a daytime shift?
We have to have a minimum of 6 on the floor, but we typically have between 6 and 8.
And as part of the record keeping in the normal course of business for the Glen Brunswick 911 Center, do you keep both the written record as well as the audio file?
We do.
All right. And the audio file is basically what? The 911 caller and the person receiving the call?
Correct. We also have audio files of radio traffic that we keep on record as well.
All right. So prior to coming to court today, have we met?
We have.
All right. And have we also kind of gone over the relevant 911 calls that were given to the GBI in regard to the investigation into the homicide of Ahmaud Arbery?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And if you had the opportunity to review those calls as well as review the CAD reports
Yes, ma'am.
and any extractions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's go ahead and at this time, for expediency's sake, the state is going to tender States Exhibit 141 and 142, the 911 call from February 23rd, 2020, made by Matt Albenze.
Which one is, I'm sorry, just which one is his?
Sure. 141 and 142, 141 being the audio call from 911 for Matt Albenze on February 23rd, 2020, and 142 being the associated CAD report.
Got it. No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Next, the state will tender into evidence States Exhibit 144, being the 911 call by Greg McMichael from February 23rd, 2020, and the associated CAD report 145, 911 CAD report for Greg McMichael. In addition, States Exhibit 146, the sequential export extraction from that CAD report.
No objection.
Objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
The state will tender into evidence as States Exhibit 147, the 911 call made by Greg McMichael from July 13th of 2019, along with 148, the associated CAD report.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
The state will tender into evidence States Exhibit 149, 150, and 151. The 911 call by Larry English from October 25th, 2019, parts 1 and 2, along with the associated CAD report at 151.
149 and 150 are the two calls on 1025.
Correct.
Okay. No objection.
151 being
No
the-
objection.
No objection.
They're admitted.
State will tender into evidence States Exhibit 153, 154, and 155, being the 911 calls from Larry English from November 17th of 2019, along with the associated CAD report, States Exhibit 156.
Oh, I got you. 156 is three calls. Got you. Okay, no objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
The state will tender into evidence as States Exhibit 157, the 911 call by Larry English from November 18th, 2019, along with the associated CAD report, 158.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
The state will tender into evidence States Exhibit 159 and the associated CAD report at 160 of the 911 call by Larry English from December 1st, 2019.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
And the state will tender in as States Exhibit 161, the 911 call by Travis McMichael from January 1st of 2020, and 162, the associated CAD report.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
In addition, the state will tender into evidence as States 163, the 911 call by Travis McMichael from February 11th, 2020, and the associated CAD report as States Exhibit 164.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
All right, so, Ms. Richardson, if I live in Brunswick and or Glenn County and I call 911, how does it get to you?
If you call from a most of our calls are now wireless, it'll hit off of a tower, and it's supposed to route you to the appropriate PSAP. So if you live on the county line, there is a chance sometimes that you might hit Camden, but for the most part, they're routed as they should be.
All right, so if somebody is a tourist and they're out on St. Simon's Island and they want to dial 911 for something in Savannah, that's not going to work, right?
It doesn't work that way.
Okay, they're going to get 911 here in St. Simon's and or Glenn County.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now, is there also a non-emergency line that can be called in order to get to basically the police to report something,
There is.
right? And so if someone were to call that non-emergency line, would they go to the exact same dispatch location?
It depends if they're calling the 3645 number, which is our primary non-emergency number because we are a separate entity. It will go directly to us. Some of the departments will forward their calls to us after hours, so it does get forwarded to us, but, for the most part, they're going to be answering their own calls during normal, their non-emergency calls during normal work hours.
So somebody calls Brunswick PD just directly, but
Mhm.
no one's there to pick up, it could get routed to you.
Right.
Right. Now, if somebody is, for instance, in Douglas, Georgia, okay, but they want to call about something that's happening in Glenn County, they call 911 in Douglas, they're gonna get Douglas, right?
Correct.
So they need to call a non-emergency line to get to dispatch.
Right, and just to clarify, the only time that could happen is if you are on a VoIP, because VoIP will basically bring to 911 the location that you're registered at. So that's the only exception, and of course landlines are a direct, they'll go directly to the PSAP, the respective PSAP.
All right, so if I'm on a landline and in my house in St. Simons,
Mhm.
that's just gonna automatically tell you where I am, and that's where you're gonna assume the emergency's at.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so first thing I want to go ahead and take a look at is going to be States Exhibit. I'm gonna have you look at 142 and 143. All right. Take a look at 143 and 142, and go ahead and tell us what the difference is between those two documents.
Okay. Okay, this is the computer, this is when we enter something into we're basically telling a story when we enter anything into CAD, which is their computer-aided dispatch, and it's a chronological story of events as we are told they're unfolding or happening. So this is a CAD report, and this is going to be the script that is annotated along with.
Can you let us know when you say this, what's the document number that you're referring to?
142, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Judge. So 142 is the story.
It is. And 143 is going to be, I can't remember the specific name of this, but this is what comes with when we download our audio from our, I'm sorry, our recorder.
Okay.
My apologies. Yeah.
That's okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take States 142 and 143 back from you.
I don't know that has a technical name, but.
So what we've got, so the jury can kind of see this, is 142.
I'm sorry, Ms. Duncastle.
Sure.
You might skip 143, I don't have it listed as new tender.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. If I failed to tender 143, the state will tender States Exhibit 143 as the sequential export of the CAD report 142, being the recording from 141.
Yes, ma'am.
No objection. No objection.
It's in-
So when we're looking here at the CAD report, we end up first with what right here? What is this, a call number? What is that?
That's your nature. Oh, yes, that's the call number.
And then what's the nature?
The nature is suspicious person, activity, package,
All right.
all encompassing vehicle.
And then when we're looking down here, in this particular instance, what is the date we're looking at in State's Exhibit 142?
2/23 of 2020,
And then what is the time?
13/08/24.
Is that military time?
It is.
All right. And who is our caller?
Matt.
And so when we then look down below, this is just something someone else typed in as they were speaking with Mr. Albenze.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So then when we look at 143, which is the export, does this give us the same date and time right here?
It does.
And then what's DUR?
The duration, I believe, that's the duration of the call.
All right, and then it says it came into Glenn County, Maine. What does that mean?
So that actually that didn't come from a 911 line, that came into our main line.
Right.
So our non-emergency line.
Non-emergency line.
Mhm.
So then, directing your attention to States 145. States 145, is that the exact same call number as the previous one as well? I'll put them up so that you can see them.
Please.
So, is that the exact same call number?
It is.
Okay. So, when two people end up calling in minutes apart, but it seems to be about the same incident, does it end up on the same CAD report?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
Unless it's hard to determine if that in fact is the same incident that's going on.
So for instance, you can have a mile apart two car wrecks that have
Yes.
nothing to do with each other.
Right.
Okay. But in this case, we have this combined CAD report.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so when we look at this and we go down here, we actually have right here, what are those words?
Another caller.
All right, so just so I know, this typing is,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so then this typing would be related to that time of day,
Yes, ma'am.
and then another call of that would be related to this time of day.
Correct.
Okay, so I got a question for you here. This time and date says 13/15/48, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and it's being taken in by P. Parker, who's that?
Philip Parker, he's one of our,
One of your 911 people.
yes, ma'am.
All right, but when we look at State's Exhibit 146, all right, related to the specific phone call from Greg McMichael, what time do we actually have right there?
13/14/09.
All right, and what was the duration on that?
4 minutes, 46 seconds.
Okay, why is there a discrepancy showing this as a 13/14/09 call versus this one where it says another caller at 14/15/48?
Right, so I believe what happened, and again, they don't necessarily remember exactly what they do with the thousands of calls they process, but when that caller called in, he was naming that he was in a neighborhood. So we don't create a record of call. We can't really create a record of call without having a good idea of the location, and the location's got to go in and validate it along with the nature of call before that call is created. And I think what happened and what he believes happened is when he was trying to get where that was at, he realized, okay, this is related to this call. And so instead of going with that particular CAD event, he went ahead and put the information in the existing record of call.
Okay, so there was a
Yeah.
time delay between the, hey, this is coming in at 13/14/09, and hey, I think it's related to this, so there's a later time when he actually types it in.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, but they got associated.
Correct.
At this time, the state is going to publish State's Exhibit 144.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm out here at Satilla Shores. There's a black male running down the street.
Satilla, where at Satilla Shores?
I don't know what street we're on. Stop right there! Is it? Stop! Travis!
Sir, hello, sir. Sir, where you at? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Stopping that at 1 minute in. The noises and voices we hear in the background of that dun dun dun, where's that from?
That's from inside the center.
Okay. Does anyone ever come back on the line in this call?
No, ma'am.
Moving forward now to State's Exhibit 148 and 147. Let's take a look at 148. So what is our call number up here on State's Exhibit 148?
887230,
And what date do we have?
7/13 of 2019,
And what time?
18/14/10.
Right. And is this Mr. Parker taking this again?
It is.
And what address do we have making the 911 call?
230 Satilla Drive.
And who is the person calling?
Greg McMichael.
This time the state will publish 147.
Good Brunswick Communications, operator 924, how may I assist you?
Hey, this is Greg McMichael. I'm a retired chief investigator with the DA's office. Is there anybody, supervisor available I might be able to speak to?
Sure, just a moment. And are you talking the dispatch supervisor or police supervisor?
Police supervisor, yeah. Anybody on duty be fine.
Okay.
I wanted to make them aware.
Okay, and all right, and what was your name?
Greg McMichael.
Okay, and a contact number for you?
912-217-1726. They can call me back if
Okay, and your address, sir?
230 Satilla Drive. We've had a lot of break-ins in this area out here, automobile break-ins. And my son and I just discovered a guy. We think he may be living under the Bluff Creek Bridge on 17. We just went up there and made contact with him, a real shady-looking fella. And he, possibility he may be the one that's been breaking into all these automobiles right there at night. Just wanted to make somebody aware that there was somebody living under there. Hello?
And you want to talk to the supervisor or any police
Yeah,
officer? When they give you a call, it's going to come in as blocked unknown or unregistered, so be prepared to answer that, okay, at 912-217-1726.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
in regard to State's Exhibit 161 and 162. Looking at 162 right now. What is our call number?
989180.
And what is our date?
It is 1/1 of 2020,
What time?
11:05:39,
And what is the location of the call?
230 Satilla Drive.
And who's making the call?
Travis McMichael.
At this time, the state will publish State's Exhibit 161.
Brothers Communications, operator 915.
Hey, yes, I need a police officer. I got a report of I need a report of stolen stuff.
You what, sir?
I need a police officer. I need to report a stolen pistol.
Okay, and what's the address it was stolen from?
230 Satilla Drive.
It's 230 Satilla Drive, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And your name?
Travis McMichael.
Phone number, Mr. McMichael?
912-423-1374.
What kind of gun was it, sir?
It was a Smith & Wesson M&P E9mm.
And when did it get stolen?
I'm assuming about an hour ago.
Okay, where was it when it got stolen?
It was in my truck. It was in my truck on the side of the road here.
Yes, sir. You see on the side of the road?
Yeah, right here at the house. Or actually in the barn, but
Do you have the serial number for it by any chance or paperwork on it?
I don't. I can get it tomorrow, but I don't have it right now. Oh man, I might have something somewhere around here, right in my gun safe where I can. I might have it. I'll look for it when I go.
You think they took it today, or?
I'm pretty certain this was within an hour. My father moved my truck for me. He moved my truck for me. I came out an hour later, and the holster was sitting in my seat. So I made sure I'm pretty certain they stole it.
Yes, sir. And what kind of truck was it stolen out of?
A 2011 Ford F-150, regular gas.
Did you take anything else out of your truck, sir?
No, ma'am.
And what color is the truck?
Red.
All right, I put it in for you. Said to have officer come out.
All right, I'll be out here waiting.
Yes, sir.
All right, happy New Year.
Same to you, sir.
And then directing your attention to State's Exhibit 163 and 164. What is our call number?
1012164.
All right, and what date and time do we have?
1927-13 at February 11, 2020.
And what location?
220 Satilla Drive.
And who is making the phone call?
Travis McMichael.
And what is this address here?
That's the lat long that is affiliated with the phone, so he called 911 from a cell phone.
From his cell phone. All right. This time the state will publish State's Exhibit 163.
What's the address of your emergency?
Satilla Drive, 230 Satilla Drive.
What's going on?
We've had a string of burglaries. I was leaving the neighborhood, and I just caught a guy running into a house being built 2 houses down from me. When I turned around, he took off running into the house.
Okay. What did he look like?
It's a black male, red shirt, white shorts.
And you said the house is being built?
It's being built, yes ma'am. It's vacant right now. He is in the house.
What's your name and phone number, sir?
Travis McMichael, 912-423-1374.
All right. Where are you at now?
I am sitting right across the street in my truck, watching the house. Watching the house with it right now. Right here at the
Okay. What kind of truck are you in?
A red Ford F-150.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah. It just startled me. When I turned around and saw him and backed up, he reached into his pocket and ran into the house. So I don't know if he's armed or not, but he looked like he was acting like he was. So, be mindful of that.
Okay. Which pocket did he reach into?
Left, I believe.
Okay. And now, so 230 is the vacant lot address?
It's my address. I do not
It's your address?
It's probably
Okay.
8 or 226,
Maybe 226?
possibly.
How many houses down is it from yours?
It's 2 towards the highway. I guess he doesn't realize we're here. He's got the damn lights on right now. He's got a flashlight going through the house.
Does he? Okay. You just stay where you're at so that the officers will know.
Will do.
Okay. And I'll stay on the line with you until they get there, just in case anything changes.
Roger that.
So you said he was a black male. Did he have hair on his head? Any other features you can tell me about?
I couldn't tell.
Okay.
He just looked like short hair.
Okay. Was he tall, short?
Yeah, he was tall, probably about 6 foot.
Okay.
There's the neighbors, I guess it's one of the other neighbors saw it. There's about 4 of us over here around it right now.
Okay. So what happened when you first saw him?
He's trying to sneak behind a bush. He was coming through somebody's yard, and I looked back, and he was trying to sneak behind a bush, and when I drove on by, he got behind a portalet that they had to it. And when I backed up, he looked at me. I went ahead and backed up to the road, and he reached in his pockets. I kind of watched him, and he ran off into the house, and then stepped back out and went back into the house, and that's when I called y'all.
Okay.
But we've been having a lot of burglaries and break-ins around here lately, and I had a pistol stolen January 1st, actually. And, I've never seen this guy before in the neighborhood. And we've been kind of keeping an eye, and, sure enough, there's one, through the yards, Cops. All right, please.
You see him?
Yep, they're pulling up, coming in hot.
Okay. You can go ahead and let me go, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Can we have one moment? I will go ahead and pass the witness.
Ms. Richardson,
Yes, ma'am.
as the custodian of records for the Public Safety Dispatch, and this may seem like an obvious question to you, is there any mechanism by which you collect or record phone calls that people make directly to officers?
There is not.
And are you aware of officers who give out their cell phone numbers to members of different Bakers, residents in those different patrol areas?
No, ma'am, I'm not aware.
Okay, so there isn't anything, if an individual were not to call the regular Glynn County PD number, non-emergency, or 911, those phone calls would not be collected in any place that you care for.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Correct.
you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate it.
Anything from the additional defendants?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Any redirect on that point?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Is she subject to recall?
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, you're free to go today. You are subject to recall.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at a good breaking point for the day. So we're going to go ahead and recess until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. During the break, again, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. You're probably going to start saying it with me soon, right? Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anybody else. Don't go looking for any information about the case. If anybody approaches you about the case, please notify the court immediately upon your return to the court, and we'll see whether that needs to be addressed. So again, Don't go looking for any information. Don't go picking up newspapers or news feeds or social media or whatever it is that may be out there. With those instructions, and again, all of the instructions I've given you, thank you again for your service today. It is appreciated. You're free to go, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
All rise for the jury. Please be seated.
Anything from the state before we recess?
No, just a scheduling update for the court if the court would like one.
Okay, I'm gonna get around real quick. Anything from the defense, or from Travis and Michael?
No, Your Honor.
From Greg and Michael?
No, Your Honor.
From Mr. Brown?
I take it none of the jurors had an issue with Veterans Day? Then we have nothing.
All right, scheduling from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that we will, I know this is going to be hard to believe, we have a stipulation, and it's in writing and signed by everyone, which we will publish first thing tomorrow morning, and then segue into, I believe, Larry English's deposition. We have reviewed the timing on the deposition. It is in 3 separate videos, but it totals about 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I wanted the court to be aware of that. Mr. Camarillo will be handling that, and what we're probably going to do is have him seated more here because he needs to be able to put up the evidence at the same time on the split screen for the jury, and we've coordinated that as well. So that's, I just wanted the court to be aware, that's why he's probably going to move his chair up and sit here. And that, we'll see how that, that day goes with our technology tomorrow, and I just wanted the court to be aware of that lengthy deposition presentation.
Okay, so we're gonna start, and then it sounds like we'll have to break probably in the middle of it for lunch, but.
It's my understanding, Your Honor, that when Mr. Camarillo plays the video, plays the 911 calls, we have a transcript for the jurors for each of those calls. There's 5 or 6 calls, I guess. These are transcripts created by the district attorney's office that we've all read and reviewed and agreed upon. I've just asked the court, what's the best way to?
I'm trying to think. Normally I charge juries on transcripts, and I'll tell you the charge and see if it fits. Normally, and again, this is just generally, so I'll run through it. Some of it may not apply. At this time, so I'm going to have to probably give them the charge before we get into it, but at some point during the deposition, you're going to hear a recorded statement. In this case, the only recorded statement we're talking about are the 911 calls? Okay. This is proper evidence for you to consider. Please listen to it very carefully. I'm going to allow you to have a transcript of the recording. So are we actually giving them a transcript of the recording?
Yes, we made 20 copies.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to have a transcript of the recording prepared by the state.
I think it's a joint exhibit.
Okay, prepared by, and maybe I'll go, let me just get through this. Let's just tell you what we do. To help you identify speakers and as a guide to help you listen to the recording. If you believe at any point that the transcript says something different from what you hear on the recording, remember it is the recording that is the evidence, not the transcript. At any time there is a variation between the recording and the transcript, you must be guided solely by what you hear on the recording and not by what you see in the transcript. Please do, and please do not read ahead. That's generally the charge I give them. I'll tailor that. If there's no objection to using that, I'll go ahead and give that to them.
No objection from the state.
I have no objection.
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Let's tailor that in the morning then. Okay.
I don't think there's anything else.
Do we have any idea of what we're doing for the rest of the afternoon?
To the state, I'll let you all talk about it if you want to talk about it.
We'll
But-
figure it out.
Is the court planning to start discussing the charge issues at any point this week?
I don't know where we are with the evidence. I have not made that plan yet, no. We're still preparing a draft charge, so the court's still working on everything that was given to the court.
Well, One of the reasons I'm asking is because I'm anticipating that by the end of the week, we're going to be doing motions for directed verdict. And
And I'm not going to talk about the schedule, I don't need to talk about the schedule on the record at this point. Depending on where we are towards the end of the week, I may ask the state where we are. But at this point, just to be clear, still in the presentation of evidence. I understood that it would take at least a week, possibly two, for the state to get its evidence up. I've got a draft charge that I'm working on and will continue to do so. So any insight I can get, but at this point, I need to start putting on the record where we are with the evidence and what we're expecting time-wise. I'm not sure that that's necessary at this point. All right. Thank you, everybody. Based on all of that, then, we are in recess. We will reconvene at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Have a good evening.